Hello everyone, I'm Crystal with Stitching Crystal. Thank you, welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to see you. If you're a first time viewer or you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my video. It really does help me out a lot. Or like this video, anything you can do would really help me as I'm getting started. So today I wanted to just spend a little time going over floss, how I store it, and kind of like organize it, I guess, for my projects. For my to-go projects, I kind of distinguish that to-go projects versus like big projects that would stay at home. I think that the way you organize your floss is different for those two things. So I'm going to go over some of the methods that I have used, and then at the same time show you what I'm using now. So my current method, I'm going to show you first because I think most people want to know what the best method is, and this is honestly the best thing that I found so far. I just started adopting it maybe about 4 months ago, maybe a little bit longer, 4 to 6 months ago. It's kind of what you can call floss drops, but not really. It's kind of my own version of it. I heard somebody on a Facebook thread talking about how they adapted it, and I really liked the idea for it, so I tried it, and it's my to-go from here on out. I think it's just cleaner, it's easier to manage, it's faster when you're trying to get your thread out, so it's the way to go for me. And what it is just every color is on cardstock. You can get these tags on, like, I got mine on Amazon. I think it was 100 of them for like $8, something like that. I think it's important to make sure that it is a little thicker. In the future, had I known, I might have gone with something thicker than this. I don't know what millimeter it is or anything. I would tell you if I did. I might have gone for something thicker than that, because when you are pulling off of this, it can, it doesn't bend it per se. I wouldn't go too thick, because if this breaks, that obviously doesn't work, but it is really good. You use a floss ring, and then you just put all those cards onto the floss ring. But the best way, let me get my needle here. The best thing about this is we're gonna do this. So you just label them. This is for a current project I'm working on. So this is 317. And all you do, I'm gonna try to get it on the camera here. I'm gonna tell you the pros and cons of this. So more pros than cons, but you're gonna take it, it's hard to show you on this, but what you do is you do a loop kind of method on the ends of this once you cut your thread. So I have here, it might be hard to tell, but I have 2 loops, and all you do is you grab one of the pieces, one of the tiny little, I'm trying to put it maybe against my skin because it is a darker color. You grab one of the tiny loops. I do everything 2/1. So I do the loop start, so I only need 1 piece of floss. If you needed to, you could just do this twice. It's really fast. You just grab it with the needle and you just pull, and you will see it is bunching up. It does that. And if it gets too hard to pull, which it's getting tight, but it's not, I could keep going, but just to show you, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just pull this down. It releases that tension, and then you just keep pulling, and now you have your floss. It's very simple. I really like that because I'm not putting, I tried other methods, but this is the simplest one. I was before this. Everybody does the bobbins, and I am not a fan of the bobbins. I don't want to spend 5 minutes on each bobbin bobbinating them. To me, it seems like a lot of wasted time that I could be using cross stitching. My grandmother, who is the reason I got started in all this, used to do bobbins. And so I have used bobbins because I started cross stitching freelance, or not freelance, but you know, my own kits and making my own things. Using some of her bobbinated floss, and you know, it's okay. I have a hard time with the bobbins and the scraps, or like the smaller pieces that are left over once you cut it, and then you have 6 strands and you only need 2, and so you've got the other 4 wrapped around it. It's just a kind of a mess for me. I'm not a big fan of it. Then I went to small little jewelry bags. They're tiny. I wish I had brought one, but they're tiny little jewelry bags. You could fit like 2 or 3 skeins in them, and that way you could just put your extras in them. At one point I was even leaving I bought a ton of needles, and I would take the threaded needle and just leave it in there. That way I could just pull it out and go back to the next thing, and that worked okay. The problem with that is organizing it. I had big plastic totes from the craft store that like interlocked, and I'd have like 300 to 500 numbered, like floss number 300 to 500 in one section, and then floss 500 to 7 in the next. But finding it was kind of difficult. They kind of like moved. It just wasn't great. They did have rings that you could put them on, which was kind of helpful, because then you could have like a whole ring of, you know, envelopes and just do it that way. But I heard about this and I really like this. The cons, now that we've gone over all the pros, because this is super simple. I just put this in my bag and I pull from it as I need it. If there is scrap, I usually go to the end of the thread, or park. So I don't really have a lot of leftover typically, unless there's just like, I do a couple stitches and then there's nothing for a long time. But even if I have scrap and I need to do that, I will just hook it on here, put it in half and do like a loop, and it's on there for next time and I can just grab it. So cons. The cons about this is your thread is a little bit more exposed. If you don't have a bag or something, you can get cat hair, dog hair kind of stuff on it. For me, that's not a big concern. I'm going to wash my piece after I'm done, so I know it'll be protected that way. So I'm not crazy worried about that. But they do get a little bit more wear and tear because they are rubbing against each other and in the bag, but it hasn't been to the point where I thought it was, sorry, I hit the ring on the table. It hasn't been to the point that I thought it was such a concern that I wouldn't do it. So I think that's good. Another con is when you're pulling the string up through on this top part, you get like fuzz stuff, and it's from the fuzz of the extra little particles from the piece that you're pulling through and stuff. And so sometimes you have to take that out. A tip I will give you guys is I left this one out here so I could show you. So on the one that I did the demonstration on, I did 2 loops. Oh, maybe this isn't the same one. That's okay. Let me find a different one. A lot of these are just single. Here's one. So on this one, I have, that one will go down. I have multiple loops, just trying to show it to the camera. I have multiple loops. So each one of these is a skein, I never say it right, of floss. So instead of doing it as one massive loop, I did 3 individual loops for each skein after I cut it. So, and the reason I did that is because I realized on some of these, here it is, some of these bigger ones where I did more than one, it really was getting knotted. It was harder to pull the floss out. So I really recommend, if you're going to do this, just keep one skein as one loop and do it that way. I got the heart one. You can go and do a circle. They've got a bunch of different patterns and stuff on Amazon or wherever you would get these cardstock tags. But I mean, you can fit 4 or 5 on here easy, and that's just this one. If you got a circle or something, you could fit even more. So I don't think you need to have that many. I mean, that's a lot of floss. So unless that's a specific, like you've got a piece that's just mostly black, you know, and you know you're going to use a lot of that color, then yeah, that makes sense. But other than that, I don't feel like we're far away enough from our floss that we would need to have it all on there. But to each their own, do whatever works for you. I mean, that's the whole point of this. So I really do like this method. It's very easy. It fits in bags very easily. It's very movable. So Let me know if you have any suggestions for anything. Again, I am a little bit newer to using this method versus the envelope system. So let me know if you've got any suggestions on anything that you see that maybe I could do a little bit better, or, you know, fun tips. I'm all about learning and learning new things, because I mean, not only do I learn, because my cross stitching craft keeps changing over time, and I think it should. You should find what works better for you, but also I want to be able to share with others what, you know, if you have any special tips, either through the comments or talking about it on a video, so other people can, you know, find out, you know, different ways of doing it, things. It just helps the whole community, and I love that. So well, that is it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And please, again, subscribe, like the video if you can. And I will see you next time. Take care.